The Hungry Creators podcast with Mezame is all about celebrating the creator's journey. We'll be talking about the challenges that they faced, the failures they had to overcome, and the success stories that they're working towards or have already experienced. This podcast is brought to you by Amaran, as well as Shura, and of course with support from City Music Co. Private Limited. All right. Hello once again and welcome to the Hungry Creators podcast with Mezame, and I'm your host Mezame. Today we actually have a very special guest who is a dear friend of mine from the geek community. Here in the studio, we actually have none other than Gerald Chan. Mr.
Hey.
Gerald. Actually, I wanted to introduce you as someone from geek culture. Then I realized that things have changed, and now I'm like not really certain how do I address you.
Hey, I'm still with Geek Culture.
You still with geek culture?
Yeah,
Oh,
still
surprise, guys! Yeah. So how do I address you now in terms of your role?
Right now, I'm taking a break. I won't be doing like the day-to-day stuff. That goes over to my business partner, Yonk. You might know him also.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
You visited him, and then it's in very good hands. The only thing that I'll say I'll be really consistently coming up about will be the realm of trading card games, Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood. I don't think Pokemon, but I'll say Lorcana. Yeah.
Why not Pokemon?
Pokemon, wow. Are we really going to do that? I'm not sure. Pokemon is less of a player's game. It's more of a collector's game these days. So most people who are buying it are speculators, I would say. And that's the tricky part.
Speculators. What do you mean by speculators?
They buy products and then they flip and they trade. Essentially, that's what they do.
Is that a bad thing?
Not a good thing for players, because in players, if you are looking for specific cards, it's going to be very hard to get stuff to actually open up. And I think also it hurts, in my opinion, it hurts how younger players actually go into a game, and then after that, I would say learn about it, because they cannot even have the fun part about buying trading card games in the first place, where it's just opening packs. They just buy singles.
So now it feels more like a business transaction rather than the actual gameplay itself.
Yeah, you miss out the full spectrum experience. You just go into it, and then after that, you buy specific singles. You have to go to stores to pick up stuff, and then it's not the complete experience, I would say, for any young person who's looking to play the game.
And when you mean young, how young are you talking about? Like teenagers, young adults, kidults?
Oh, this is the funny thing. I've had friends that I actually, there's a big range. I'll be honest. I've got friends. Big shout out to Tim, who's a photographer also. He went to Australia to actually play a tournament, a Pokemon tournament.
Pokemon tournament. Is
Yeah,
like, is
trading
it like a
card game.
Pokemon gym or something like that?
Yeah, it's a Pokemon trading card game tournament itself. So you got this. Think of it like a golf tournament. You go travel overseas, and then it's an open invitational. I'll say it's an open game. You just go and sign up, pay money, and then you can play. See how far you can go. Then if I've got another friend who's like a friend in the industry as well. He is getting his kid playing Pokemon. And these days, I would say kids, there's no cartoon when it comes to Pokemon. We only have the mainline games, and they've been pretty quiet about that part. But what I realize is that kids these days, they still learn about Pokemon through the library of all places.
Wait, as in like school library, national library, that kind of thing?
Yeah, National Library. So their friends talk about it. There's apparently a very rich literature of Pokemon books that you can actually borrow from the library, and then that's how it starts going through down the rabbit hole.
No way. I mean, like, okay, back when I was a wee little boy going to school and all that, libraries are not that fun. I mean, like, they can be fun with books and all that, but you know, like, I didn't think that they would incorporate like all these, you know, trading card games into, or trading card game literature into the repertoire. Yeah.
For me, I would say you should check out, if you stay as a Singaporean, check out your local library. It's one of the best resources ever, especially if you have an ebook reader also. You can borrow books for free. Don't even have to go down to the library itself.
That's true.
If you're big into comic books, there's a whole resource when it comes to comic books as well. Go check out the Central Library at Bugis. That's a great place to actually start off with. And these days, libraries have evolved quite a bit, I would say. And last time now you have the internet after all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's easy to get information, but the library in some ways is, I'll say, go there and meet your community. There's a lot of spaces that you actually can rent out and host events. And I think the library also loves for such things. And something that you need to look out for, right, is actually what I learned is that each library in different parts of Singapore, they do have specializations. So that is something that I think everyone should actually check out. And I'll say this, something that I've learned more about Singapore is that not many people actually know, but some part of my evolution of geek culture also, me not doing the day-to-day, is in November, I started a tour guide license together with my wife.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, November last year?
Last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
And you, I didn't know about this.
I didn't know about this, so not many people know.
You didn't announce it anywhere.
I didn't announce it anywhere. It's really done for fun. And then I learned so much about Singapore. And it's really cool to actually realize that, hey, Singapore's not that boring. It's just that the people who are teaching history about Singapore, they're boring.
If you're a teacher teaching history in Singapore, don't feel bad.
Oh, I will say that's not really shade. I'll say that's my scary part. You're an ex-educator, right?
Yeah.
And as an ex-educator, you'll know that you're pretty much over there and you need to deliver on the syllabus.
That's true.
And sometimes it's really, do I really want to give them the extra mile? And you realize that if I do the extra mile, there's no value add in me in delivering the, without delivering the syllabus, it takes more time. Although, that's why when it comes to tourist guiding, right, I found that something that you do this observation for most Singaporeans, especially in how most Singaporeans have been raised and how we have been taught. Many of us are very focused on delivering the facts.
Yep, that's true.
And the facts is actually very dry. But not many people are very focused in delivering the why and the fun part about it. So that's what I realized that when doing a tour guide course in November, right, with other Singaporeans, quite a bit of a good spectrum of folks within the class itself, is that something that I really learned and appreciated while working in geek culture, doing Twitch, is that being a tour guide, you're not really there for the facts. Yes, it's still important, but how you package it and making it entertaining is what leaves a good review and a good experience.
That's actually a very good point, because the main problem with content creation also in general, especially we are both live streamers on Twitch, right? One of the pitfalls of being a content creator or a live streamer in general on Twitch or YouTube or anywhere for that matter is that if you're not entertaining, you will lose the audience.
That's the tricky bit, and something that even for myself, I realized that after watching my own streams, and that's something that I'll be planning for down the line, is that a lot of my streams coming up, the Geek Culture channel will be rebranded, and it'll be more creator-led, myself fronting it. It's been myself for quite some time, but I think there's a lot of potential there that has not been explored, especially when it comes to this part of the world. And there's a lot of space to really have fun. And I would say more entertainment, less facts. And I don't want to be playing too much.
Less facts?
Less facts, really. I can deliver you the facts, and then after that, we just go into the fun of it.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so curious to know, like, let's go back to the history of geek culture, like how you founded it, and where it is heading to now. It feels more like a story of evolution rather than just change, because the Hungry Creators podcast is all about sharing, the three main themes, or rather three main pillars of a theme that we discuss about, the failures that you have to overcome, the challenges that you face, as well as the success stories that you're working towards to or have already experienced. And the whole idea behind geek culture, I feel, as a creator who has actually worked with geek culture, I feel that you guys have made a lot of very important milestones in the entire industry when it comes to geek fandom, especially. Like whether or not it's with movies or anything to do with pop culture lah. So, having said that, I just want to understand a little bit about how it has evolved over the years, and when did geek culture actually started out?
Geek culture started out like many pages back in the day. You just post up memes just for fun.
Yeah,
and then
I remember those days.
Yeah, and you don't really know where you go. So back then it was just really still a side thing for me. And most of the people that contributed then, it was also a smart side thing. We didn't know how we actually would go about. And then the next idea of the evolution was to create a website. These days, do people still visit websites? I think there's a space.
We still do. I mean, like, I think when people want to have like information at their fingertips, they have to rely on Google, and Google will actually bring you to the website. You know, some people would be like, how to say, maybe they just wait for their friends to tell them instead because they like to be spoon-fed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to what's that page? Let me Google that for you. Do you remember that?
Yes. It's a short form. Then after that, it's essentially someone just typing in the Google and then
It was a good meme.
Yeah. So I mean, having a website was good. It's a good repertoire to add on. But I will say the evolution of that is really creating more social pages. We're on YouTube, cultures on Instagram, 100K followers there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. TikTok is 130, I believe. Then
Wow.
Facebook is at 800 or 700K. It's mostly, I'll say, a mix of international folks these days. And then after that, our website is still predominantly Singaporeans, which is a very big struggle, I think, for most publications these days to actually maintain. And we have a great team. Big shout out to the entire team there, Sijia, Zinio, Kev, and Debbie. And we've got a new guy right on. He's starting on his journey right now with us. So such things is very tricky to actually figure out. Okay, so now we've got a website and now we're putting out articles. Oh yeah, we've got stuff that goes viral very consistently. And while building up all these social media channels, this might be a lot, I would say very, how would I put it? Intimidating, and it also can be a bit scary for anyone starting out. So that's how it started. And anyone starting out right now, wow, there's a lot of competition out there.
I think primarily because the market is very saturated. Like in terms of news portals out there, trying to make a difference. Like okay, for Singapore alone, we first of all we're a small country with a very small platform base. For multiple social media channels.
Yep.
If you're looking at countries like America, you have so many different types of channels, right? And for Singapore, we did have a Twitch office at one point.
Yep.
And then we also have got Google here, but they kind of like changed some of their plans. I mean, this is something that I noticed as well. So in terms of local publications also, we also have like Hardware Zone,
the mainstay.
the mainstay.
Yeah.
Previously, we also had Computer Times. I don't know if you guys still remember that. That was a long time ago.
Wow. Will the people in your podcast actually remember this? We'll know. We'll figure out.
I feel very old now. Yeah. So we actually see a lot of different kind of publications come and go. I truly understand that when you say that you face a lot of challenges. And one thing I need to say, I have to applaud what Geek Culture is doing because you guys are experimenting with a lot of different channels. Like for example, any other platforms, they have not actually experimented with things like live streaming, Twitch, for example.
Yep.
And you guys are there. And you guys actually go on the ground to work with alongside creators.
Yes.
And I think that's very important because more often than not, when publications are being talked about, they will engage their own journalists. But you guys are engaging creators to be part of that journalism. So it's kind of like citizen journalism, sort of.
It's more along the lines of the realm of geek culture is just so vast in the sense that I don't have the time or money to do everything. Look, I mean, if I look around your room, right, I can tell the guests here, hey, guys, big robots and Star Wars. He's got little Pokemon. Then I could just say, how come I don't do more Pokemon, man? Yeah, there's only limited space.
I do have Pokemon,
Yeah, one or two. But in comparison to the rest of Transformers and big robots, Mess is the place to be. It's a very nice space.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And the part that I go on to creators, right, I really appreciate it because everyone brings their own perspective. But creators that we tend to work with, they are actually very professional. They know what is the intent we're actually trying to achieve. How does it actually affect the brand that we're working with, especially when it comes to paid stuff. Or if I can tell them, hey, I've got just a cool idea. Do you want to work on this? Purely on, when we say editorial means no money. So editorial basis to really bounce off such things is, I would say, more like an R&D phase. So that's why when I'm looking to do the rebrand of the Geek Culture channel right now, right, is to really take a more personal creator-led approach. And I'm in some ways starting from scratch.
Oh.
Yeah. So there'll be a loose association. I have my contacts with Geek Culture, but it's going to be mostly run in parallel as opposed to in partnership. Yeah.
Run in parallel, but sort of like non-partnership. How does that work?
So let's say if there's invites that comes in through Geek Culture, I'll say, hey, can I go? And then it'll be just posting. It'll be on my channels. And then I cannot speak on behalf of Geek Culture as a whole. Because it's important when brands reach out to you, right? They are expecting some kind of deliverable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
and then your deliverable is really tied down to, how many followers you are. The bigger your follower, the more better person you are. And then after that, more better person means you're more knowledgeable. I wouldn't say that is always the case, but it's they're doing a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's true. That's true.
They need to deliver to someone like a boss, something. Why are you engaging this person? So I need to be very clear in how I'm engaging. But when it comes to trading card games, that one's more clear cut. That one goes on the site straight away. But when it comes to anything else, it'll be a bit more nuanced. And I have to tell the brands, hey, that one, you just go to our main email address, ping us at geekculture.co, small plug there. And then after that,
no problem.
drop us an email. But if I do go, you'll be, I'll say, a bit more on my stuff that I'm looking to do. Yeah, eventually.
Right. Yeah. So you're still associated with Geek Culture, but you're doing more of your own, I would say, your own platform right now.
Yeah. Running Geek Culture was great. I learned so much. And something that I learned about myself, right, is that I need to, maybe it's a challenge for myself that once I've attained that goal, right, I'm not sure about some of the folks who are listening to this. For me, I'm like, okay, I've hit this milestone. So what's next? So if I don't find that the what's next is sufficiently satisfactory for me, right, I'll start to lose a bit of attention.
You lose interest, basically.
Yeah, correct.
And what would you say are important attributes that make you want to be hooked on to this particular thing that grabbed your attention?
It's always, the great part about doing Geek Culture is always you try something new. Yeah, being able to experience something that is different and that's out of the normal Geek Culture space. I mean, we have gone for so many events overseas. Yourself, right? I've covered so many Comic Cons. I've seen you at Comic Cons before. We've gone to the initial Game Start where we brought in a pod.
Oh my gosh!
The Star Wars arcade machine.
Oh, that was. Was it Game Start?
Game Start. I think one of
the very first one.
First or the second one. We had to actually ask Bandai to say, hey, you've got this machine sitting in the office. You think we can borrow it? And then we had to pull in some strings. They say, okay, as long as you cover shipping, and then after that, make sure it's not damaged. Then we had to figure out how to assemble it and power it up. It was a good experience. And such things, over time, when you do over conventions, right, it tends to be a bit more routine. And
clinical and boring.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say boring. It's always new to someone, but sometimes for myself, when I find myself having to hype myself up for this thing again, right? That's where I want to say, hey, how can we reinvent or find something else? But reinvention does not come of meaning abandoning the baseline deliverables. And then reinvent meaning you just do more on top of the deliverables, but then sometimes it's a bit tricky to execute, especially when, think about it, you're going to a new mobile phone launch. You're fighting against how many media? We're not talking about Singapore media here. We're talking about international media. Yeah. How do I get my story out there in the front of everyone and ensure that that story is read, it is covered in the right way, and then is appreciated by people who are looking to make that next purchase. So that's the challenge each time. But after some time, you'll think about, hey, it's not really, it's become routine for me. So that's when I noticed that the energy for doing such things waned quite a bit.
I guess it's not so much of being boring or anything. It's more like how do you want to challenge yourself even further? And not just yourself, but your team as well. Because you go like, it's the same thing again and again. How do we actually make it more exciting for us. You know, like I think that's the story with you and your team.
Yeah, that's key part. And innovation itself is important because many brands, they generally every year they'll just ask you one new thing. I think you would know this as well. So what's new with you?
Yeah, that's true.
Even you starting on this podcast itself, you just asked me essentially in a very different way. So what's new with me? Yeah,
That's very true. That's very true. And in fact, you're a returning guest. You were on my podcast a couple of years ago on Kopi Chat, if you remember.
Yes.
And you noticed, right? Like
it was live.
It was live, and that was on YouTube, and it was so different back then because we didn't have like a nice, comfortable setting. It was a small room, first of all, and then of course we also had games to go along with the podcast. And I think for me, when it comes to reinventing the podcast, I wanted it to be a little bit more serious, a bit more mature in terms of content delivery and even the context. You know, I guess that goes the same with you as well when you want to reinvent how you deliver things.
So reinvention, I think, is the tricky part because most people are very locked into their identity as even for yourself. You're a photographer first.
Yeah,
but then eventually you have shown yourself. Now I see yourself when I meet you at events. You're a marketing executive. But you know your stuff behind photography, so it gives you that level of I'll say reputation and that knowledge that you can bring to the role. And do I still see myself as the co-founder of Geek Culture? Yeah, I am. But that's not my core identity. I think the journey that everyone I think eventually wants to see themselves go through, or most people, especially in the creative field, is you figure out, okay, I've done this, so what's next?
So what is next then?
Oh, wow. What's next?
I went straight for the jugular vein there.
What's next is that I have actually a lot of things planned. I have a team already in some ways. I've gotten a few moderators from the Twitch community.
Wow.
And I think the goal that I'm looking to do is mixing something between, let's say, tourism and speaking to actually Singaporeans who are doing cool stuff. Not creators, but one of the tastes that I actually met is one guy that I met during my tourism course is that his grandfather was someone who actually designed a building within the civic district in Singapore. So civic district, we're talking about the buildings around the Padang.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and these are very interesting people who are just normal folks. And he just loves history. I'll just love to sit down with them and then talk.
Yeah, I really like that because you're giving or rather shedding limelight on people that we normally glance by. You know, like maybe this person actually has a lot of story to share, but they were never given a platform or opportunity to do so. And you're offering that platform.
Yeah, I would say right now it's a period of discovery. I have a good idea of what actually would stick, but then it's for me to really test my hypothesis. And this is a journey that I'm very excited to go through. But I still have to pay the bills, sadly. So to do the bills, actually I'm teaching social media courses on the side.
Nice.
Just to, I wouldn't say just, but it's very fun as well to really educate folks. And social media moves so fast these days, it's very overwhelming for, say, a senior individual who is looking to launch their business. And
wait, by senior individual, are you referring to yourself?
I would think even higher than that though, like 50s, 60s, who realize that, hey, I can make money from the internet. But this is the line I always tell them, if you're going to make money, and I think same thing applies to everyone right now. We are so blessed with tutorials, technology. If everyone has such access to this, what makes you so special? Or what do you think is your secret sauce that you can make a difference on the channels itself?
That's what I like to hear actually, because I do see myself as someone who's growing older. Yeah. I mean, like sometimes when I go on Twitch and you go live, right, I feel like I feel very old.
Really? How?
Yeah, I'm 42 this year, so I do sense that kind of like generation gap. Especially when I run events and I work with a lot of KOLs and creators and even the younger photographers or even the younger streamers and all that. And I do sometimes feel it can be a bit of a struggle trying to keep up with things like mannerisms and even the language that they use,
Okay.
or even the things that they like. Yeah, sometimes I like. There was once I sat down with somebody and I just asked him, "What does skibidi mean?" Yeah, so it's at that juncture, where I start to question myself, like, am I still able to keep up the younger crowd and things like that? So when you tell me that you're working with creators who are of a certain age and all that, it does make me feel like there is still hope for the older gen in Singapore. When you mention old, do you mean old by age or old by experience or both?
I would say the worst thing that anyone as you age is you grow old in terms of mindset.
Yeah.
You can meet really senior folks in terms of age, but their mindset is awesome. They're great. They are very energetic. They want to really share. They want to teach. They want to engage with people. And what I've really learned about such people, and I really appreciate and I hope to highlight, is these people, they're not judgmental, and they always approach life towards in the sense of curiosity, which is something that I've learned that I would want to do. And instead of brushing and rubbishing something off very quickly, right? Which generally it comes to you as in your creative field, you really need to judge your taste in some ways. But I would love to lean towards more the curious side of things. And that means things are not going to be very pretty and not going to be perfect. And I need to be okay with it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Especially when things do not have to be pretty. I really like that very much because I think most of us are conditioned to grow up thinking that everything must be perfect. And that's why sometimes I feel like living in Singapore, it feels very clinical. I don't know about you, but I really feel that we're brought up in such a way that if it's not perfect, it's not good enough. And we also taught that failure is not really a good thing. Especially when you look at the number of exams we have to go through when we're young. So when we grow older, we start to realize, we start to think along this very narrow path, thinking that once we fail, there's no bouncing back.
Oh, that's actually a very scary thing, especially if you're a creator.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the story is, I'm pretty sure you also have your own fair share. Before this, we had a conversation about the set that we built up. And you're in your, 3.0 of this set itself. You built similar sets for your office. You built similar sets for your home previously. All these, in some ways, can be seen as failures because they didn't quite work out the same way. But what you learn is, hey, let's not do this again and make an effort to actually change. And especially in the creative field, right, you do need to embrace failures or give yourself the space to actually fail, which is something is hard to do, especially if you run a company like Geek Culture. We're a small company. We don't have any backing from any private industry, and most of our business comes from private companies as opposed to the government. So we do have to really rely on recurring business because it's not like you do it one time and then after that, hey, it's done really. It's cultivating the relationships. And sometimes being able to deliver something that the brand wants as new, but yet still avoid the failure bit of it.
Yeah.
And no brand wants to be the guinea pig also. Even for myself working as a marketer, you need to know what are the areas that is really the space for experimentation and really learning, because that's how you really get growth and not be stagnant as an individual.
To light up the home studio for the podcast, we actually use Amaran lights. Here we have the F22X mounted on our autopole, and here we have the Verge, as well as the Panel 120C. The sound of my voice right now you can hear is coming through the Shure SM7DB as well as the SM7B. If you're enjoying the podcast so far, remember to hit the like button, leave a comment below, maybe with your favorite emoji or even name of someone you want me to bring onto the show, and better yet, hit the subscribe button. That will really help the channel grow. Thank you. What would you say is the biggest failure that you've experienced when you're working at Geek Culture?
I would say the biggest failure working at Geek Culture was, even for myself, maybe not realizing that consumers' taste changed quite a bit. And even for ourselves, it's important to actually adapt quite quickly. Which is why I was not able to make a push on a even bigger convincing case for me to actually do streaming or the creator side when it comes to geek culture. And that's why I have to step away from it to actually try and push on into that path itself. Because as a company, your real goals is really capitalism. Let's be honest here. You need to make money. You need to have enough revenue to actually pay staff. They have families, they have lives to actually go about. And that is important as well. So I would say the creator space is very big, still growing. And there are areas that brands actually have reached out to us. That's why we tend to work a lot with very familiar creators that we can collab with. That is an area we would love to grow, but we have not been able to do it successfully. If you look at overseas, right, and analysis of such companies, right, it's very hard to do it within a company itself. If you look at the most example in the realm of Vice, BuzzFeed, most of the successful folks have spun off and done their own creator approach already. So that is something that I don't think I've been able to figure out. As a business owner, as a founder, as an editor, you are important because you really need to think about the avenues that how consumers are going to change their taste when it comes to evolving and how they love to receive the information these days. So I would say it's not a massive failure, I would say, right now, but it's something that is tricky when you juggle between what brings in the revenue and what is actually fun to do and what is actually experimental.
I actually really like the response because it's something that a lot of content creators actually struggle with. I've spoken to some content creators, like outside of the realm of within the realm of live streaming, especially. We probably have heard of this story before. A lot of creators who want to go into live streaming will be like, "Oh, I want to make it big. I want to do this. I want to do that," and then they don't realize that part and parcel of running a live stream show also involves being realizing that you are a brand yourself and that you need to market yourself out there. And for you, because you already are part of a business and you actually understand that the business requires that kind of balance between having fun, creating the content, and basically that's the fun stuff, right? Then there's also the making the money part.
Yes.
I think a lot of creators out there who are doing on their own time don't seem to realize that. If that's the case, right? I mean, do you have any advice for these kind of folks?
It's the same thing that I will actually give to my students during social media. I have mentioned this before. What's your edge when it comes to brands that want to approach you to work with you? What can you actually offer them? It's not so much that you can offer them a cookie cutter approach. That way they'll just go for the next biggest person.
That's true.
Okay, so what is it that people need to realize is why is the brand coming to you for something to work with you? Maybe the important thing is to actually ask them if this is what they're looking for and whether you actually can deliver for them. Because the most important thing is if you're able to deliver for them, they will come back a second time. And you must remember, you are the business. It's a B2B business.
Yep.
You are the business. They are the business. You have to have the ability to speak their language and also be able to, let's say, deliver the numbers or whatever KPI they're looking for. KPI here does not mean naturally straight away I've gotten how many views. These days it's very tricky to actually track, and you can always engineer towards a higher number, but it's also asking them, hey, I don't think I can really deliver on this. Maybe we can look at something else, and then this is something that helps you remove a bit of pressure when it comes to working with them. So that's the best, a very broad but yet specific example is to really ask them questions more. Why are you working with me? And what can I really offer you?
That's actually a very interesting approach because most of the time it's just almost a one-way traffic in terms of communication between the brand and the creator, because the brand will tell them, hey, I need this. And the creator will be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, then I just deliver.
Just deliver, yeah, exactly. But what you're saying here is that the creator actually comes back with almost like a negotiation and offer something else, like a value.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that a lot of creators need to understand is that when it comes to this kind of negotiations, they need to understand their own personal value, and they also need to see what kind of value they can bring to the table for the brands themselves. And I need to say this also for brands. If you're tuning in right now, I just want to share, this is very important, but number of followers is not everything. Would you agree?
These days, yes. I was saying if in the realm of geek culture, we are got geek culture as an umbrella term. But I would say if you can find the niche person, the Indian chief within our communities who is able to actually have the energy and have the willpower to actually make things happen, that's the person you want to hold on to. And the tricky part is you have a marketing mix, let's be honest here. You don't always have to go with the biggest, but also look out for the smaller guy out there and cultivate them. And because especially if you're a tech brand, marketing people move around. That's what I noticed.
Yep.
And then you can always cultivate them. The relationships always go on. So that's the key part when it comes to working with brands. And brands, sometimes they also themselves have a boss to respond to. And then they know the boss just loves big numbers. So for most people, I'd say marketers, they say, okay, I just want to go home early. Why do I want to do more?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm here to deliver. You asked me to get 1 million views. Okay, deliver 1 million view plan. But has let's say a business like Geek Culture, what we actually look out for, even myself as a small little creator, you need to think about 3 areas that I would say that's important. What's good for you, for your soul, what you're doing. What's good for your audience. Usually that's number 1. And then what's good for the brand. And most of the time, things go out the window when you're always just doing things for the brand. Because a brand does not really have access, or the people who work with you eventually, they won't be facing off with the same community the next day after the brand partnership. You'll be still talking to them, to your community. And if they find out that, hey, this is really not something that resonated with us, and then that really hurts your long-term potential.
Very true. Yeah. That's very true. And I think the key word here is authenticity. People can sense it.
Authenticity is actually hard. And sometimes also authenticity, I'll say, sadly, it does not really bring you in the dollar.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah. I truly get it. And sometimes I hate to say this sometimes. Like it feels like you're selling a part of your soul.
Some people mistake authenticity with being overly critical. You're not being real, man. You're just being an asshole.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, and if you don't really take away from a nuanced perspective, that's the tricky part, especially if you're working with younger people. You asked the earlier question, how do you work with younger people? And the people who actually are saying, hey, I just speak my mind.
Yeah.
No, not really. You just blurt out what you want to say without a care. And younger people actually listen to such things and realize that, hey, your worldview is actually quite outdated. So why should I listen to you? That's the part where you realize that sometimes, hey, you're not connecting with the younger people that way.
Yep. Yeah. That's true.
So that's my thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, so in terms of like, just now you mentioned, you are bringing in a crew for your new venture. What sort of qualities do you look for to bring on board? Because you mentioned that you have some Twitch streamers who are already on your moderating panel.
More like they are viewers. They're also moderators for other folks. So I spend quite a bit of time on Twitch also, sitting in the communities, understanding what people actually want, how to actually, because Twitch in itself is a performance.
Yeah, true.
This thing right here, I'm talking, in some ways is for me to deliver the information. Teaching is also a performance. It's getting the information right across, and important for me to actually figure out what I can actually do without tiring myself out too much. You have streamed before, we have streamed. Any streamers out there, they realize that if you're not natural to it, it can be very tiring and you'll suffer burnout quite a bit.
Very, very true. Especially if you do the long hours hoping to make something out of it, but all you see is just one viewer.
Yes.
It's so painful.
That's why I'll say cut your streaming hours. I won't be streaming super long, but I'll be very consistent and dedicated to the hours. And then after that, I'm actually spending quite a bit of time planning for the content so that if anyone who tunes in, right, will actually be able to get good material without having to waste time or go through the entire experiences. So finding out the right people is important because not only the crew itself, is also your brain trust. Something I've learned over time is being able to ask people for advice and for the right questions. And then, hey, I need some advice. This does not mean that you just ask them to do everything for you. It means that, hey, I've taken it to this level right now. I need some thoughts for you to give me some wisdom or insight that they have gained that you could actually help accelerate your own process itself. And you must remember when you ask advice, remember to give back also. Or try your best to actually give back to the people that has helped you and remember them on your journey.
Agreed. And I think it's also very important that, to that sense of humility to actually ask for advice because we have seen cases whereby people, once they grow, they think that, I know everything. And then like they hit a wall, but they are too afraid to actually, go up to somebody and ask for advice. If let's say you have of someone who's actually like that, like they've hit a wall, but they are actually on, like typically top of the food chain, so to speak, what kind of advice would you give them?
To someone on the top?
Yeah. But they already hit a wall and you're being the subject matter expert, you know something that they don't, but clearly they need the help.
Wow, that's an amazing question. For anyone who's been on the top, I found that controversial topic, they generally have a very good PR team. Or they have actually, they are able to hire well. And people who get to the top, they are very aware of their own limitations.
Yeah.
And if you're talking about the people who are at the top and continue growing, they know what's their limitations, they know how to plug the gaps. So they will go intensively learn about it. And on the flip side, the folks who are on the top, but just want to do the same thing again, which most of them are actually doing, they won't see much success, but I'll say they go into a decline that is very long extended. Yeah.
So it's like a slow decay.
Yeah, which is the worst thing for, I think, any brand or any creator, which is tricky because we live very long lives now. And it's going to be very tricky to say, hey, can I do this for the next 30 years? Or maybe just be very clear that, hey, I'm going to do this and this is my 10-year arc, which is the same reason why I'm actually going out to do, I'll say, my own thing, because back in November when I took a break, I went to Japan and many people just commented on my IG stories. Gerald has completed pretty much his main quest in life. And right now he's just doing side quests.
Yeah. I actually funny that you mentioned it because that was what I said to my wife, like this Gerald's like, wow, his MSQ finished already.
Yeah.
So now he's doing his side quest, exploring the world, trying to see what else he can do, and it turns out to be true.
Yeah, and this only can be done because I've been very fortunate. I'll just really say that. And to family, to friends, business partners, everyone, all the brands that worked along the way. And I wouldn't have this opportunity if I did not grind. The grind is something that every creator will have to go through. But you also need to let yourself know what is your runway and when can you actually exit or say, hey, I give it a good shot. Do I want to continue this? Or even if I continue, what can I do differently to make it any different? Because you never know. You just might be just one stream, one content post away to making it big.
It's just like that graphic that I always see on Facebook where this guy's digging.
Oh my God, I know this one.
You know this
the
one, right?
with the diamonds, right?
The one with the diamonds, yeah. He was so close, but he decided to you know what? Fuck it, I'm done. I'm walking around.
So I think the real key part is if you don't have a monopoly or something that gives you a steady revenue stream. You really need to do this by the side for the longest time and then for the right opportunity to come about. And never stop, I'll say, putting yourself out there and talking to people. I think that has served myself, my career, geek culture really well.
And on a personal basis, because just now you shared about your time in geek culture, like in terms of your own personal growth, have you encountered any setbacks that made you go like, maybe I should have done things differently? And this is outside the realm of geek culture.
Outside the realm of geek culture, I would say, thankfully, nothing really dire.
Oh, that's good to hear.
That's good to hear. But right now, I would say it's important for me in this phase is for anyone out there is really to really learn as much as you can, because with the realm of AI coming up, or it's already here already, to really equip yourself with the same skills. I saw it in the social media era. Right now, we're going into pretty much an AI era where sometimes the work that you actually do might not be as valuable as you think it is, because someone is actually doing it for much cheaper, much faster, more creative. So how can you use these tools to actually improve yourself? And maybe the real mistake that I am is many people say I'm really too nice, in the sense that, okay, let's do it. Or sometimes I'm a bit lazy also, when I feel that the thing is the task I'm supposed to do is like not interesting to me. That's my own personal thing, which I'm trying to really address. But being able to actually in my own personal space is, that's a no one has really asked me that question.
That's why we ask it here. Okay, so on the other side of the fence, like what would you say would be your greatest success story on your own personal, basis?
My greatest success story is, I think, building geek culture. Very proud of what I've done, and then being able to step away with it is a big step also in some ways. Yeah, it's not easy. I enjoyed it, but the greatest success as a whole is meeting all the different creators that I met in Singapore, working with them, and I really appreciate it. And I wish I had more opportunities. Don't worry, there'll be more opportunities, I'm sure.
Glad to hear.
Yeah, that's the greatest success out in the professional realm, I would say.
Yeah, and as someone who actually grew up with geek culture, I've seen how your office has grown.
Oh wow!
Literally, guys, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, right? Those of you guys who are on Spotify, you might have missed it, but
this is a fraction of our power.
Exactly. This is just a fraction of what they have in their office. Their office is the ultimate geekland. It's like a wonderland. I remember when I first stepped into your office, I just went like, wow.
You do not know where your eye line should go.
Exactly.
What's the view?
Exactly. Yeah. And then after that, I further visits, I start to see a lot of evolution in the office itself, and it's sort of like a representation, a metaphor of your team's growth. For example, there's the setup for shooting of reviews, with where Zin was and with the Omnitest table setup and all that.
And Zaki, big shout out to Zaki, our first video guy.
Yeah, exactly. Is he still in Bali again? Every time I check out his Instagram, he's always in Bali.
He's having a good time, man.
Yeah. And to see your team grow as well, I can see that there's more stuff, and I see some of my friends actually joining your stuff. People like Deb, like recently she was riding a dinosaur in a cinema. So
Deb is great energy.
Yeah, she is. She is. I really love your entire team's energy. From Sicha to Yong himself. In fact, I met Yong in Rome, Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been meaning to have a meeting in Singapore, but never had a chance. And we met in Italy of all places.
I have this thing that I have on my Instagram, but it's not something that I also dedicate too much to it. It's like friends I only meet overseas.
Oh, yeah. We you know what? We should coordinate our trips next time.
Especially in the content creator space, I would say if you're fortunate to actually start to travel, you start to meet a lot of friends. You go to shows, right? It's very good to meet like-minded people.
Oh, at
conventions and say, hey, what's up? I've been catching up with you on your socials. But there's always a story behind the social post or the video itself.
Yep.
And then there's that evolution, and it's always I would say the distance really does make the heart grow fonder in some ways.
Very true,
and the
very true.
conversations are a bit more fruitful as well. Yeah.
And I think that comes along with the experience as well. It's very different. Seeing you here and probably seeing you in, I don't know, other countries, even Malaysia also. I think the whole sensation is very, very different as well. So coming back to seeing how geek culture actually has evolved over the years, like our first collaboration was actually with that Star Wars pod. They call it pod, Battle Pod, right?
Battle Pod,
Star Wars
yes.
Battle Pod. And I remember, was it Farah who was doing the video? Was a host or something? Farah, was it? I think
I have no idea. I can't remember now.
I remember there was Suwei. I don't know. Maybe I got it wrong. I'm not so sure. But I think that was the first time that we actually did a collaboration. And then subsequently, I think the thing that really brought us even closer together was when you guys did a coverage of my pre-wedding photo shoot for my client, the Star Wars one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. The stuff that you put out over the years when you're starting out as a photographer, it's not really starting out. It's really achieving as a photographer. My favorite one that I think you did was the one with lightning.
Rainer cosplay. Yeah, I remember that one. That oh my gosh. I really want to keep that topic to another episode actually, but I'm gonna share with you anyway. The plan was actually to talk about how you would have peaked in a certain success story, and then after that, subsequently, you feel that you are rebuilding. That's the case with the lightning shoot actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's been a couple of years since the lightning shoot. 2016, I think that was when we actually shot that, and up to today, I feel that no matter how hard I try, I can't top it.
Wow.
And that's something that I've been struggling for a long time. Like even though like a lot of friends will tell me like, hey, you've done okay for live streaming. You've secured all this brand support over the years, etc., etc. And I just feel that when it comes to photography, it has never reached that same level.
My question then is, what's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that. The thing about me is that I like to challenge myself. I don't like the idea of like, okay, there's one success story over there and that's it. I don't have to like go for the next big thing anymore. I'm like done.
Okay.
But I feel that there's still so much to go. And is that how you feel as well with your own current trajectory?
I think that's the thing. The reason why I ask and what's wrong with that is because I would say I'm more of a builder. And once I've gotten to that peak in some ways, I would generally ask myself, so what's next? And due to my nature, I would say I don't want to do the same thing again. And that's the tricky part. But because creativity is what people think, oh, it just comes out naturally. Actually, it doesn't. Sometimes you go through a very a drought, a creative drought in some ways, where I think what I really love is being able to reinvent myself and be multifaceted in some ways. Because what you achieve and acquire from your journeys up to that point is not lost. It's what's important is being able to draw on those stories and those understandings and those failures, especially failures, and the successes. It makes you who you are right now, and how do you move forward and not repeat the same mistakes again, or to move forward faster.
Move forward faster.
Yeah.
So it's like sort of like a evolution, evolve faster.
Yeah. It's not like, okay, I'm relaunching the Twitch channel once again. At least you know, okay, these are elements that you need right from the start, really. And like you mentioned earlier, the humility to ask.
Yep.
You really can't do this alone, and you really need, because we only have 24 hours, and I'll say you need sleep.
Yeah.
I think
See
sleep.
these eye bags here?
Yeah, man, I've seen you. You need sleep. Sleep has become pretty important for me.
It is.
And I appreciate it. And how do you actually fit into something like this? And if you realize that, hey, there are some non-negotiables in life, do you think this life is for you, or is this path for you? Because what you will suffer is your health eventually, especially as all creators. Don't give up on your health. Is important, and it'll lead to burnout. And you'll be very angry towards what you're doing, and it just really shows in the stuff and how you outwardly view the world.
And speaking of burnout, like, because you yourself have been on both sides of the fence, being someone on the I would say behind the scenes as well as someone who's actually in front of the scenes being a content creator as well. How do you prevent yourself from burning out?
You can't, sadly. Because sometimes when you're grinding so hard and you're hitting, like say, wow, there's so many opportunities coming through, you feel that you have to give up some, and if you give up some, the opportunities might not come by once again. That's the tricky part for most creators. You have to really understand if you are going into a phase in which you're, say, highly irritable, you're not really enjoying the things you want to do, and especially if your loved ones are getting the brunt of it.
Oh yeah.
That's true burnout already. And that's when you need to realize okay, this is not healthy, because the people who I'm trying to please are my loved ones. I see them more often, and they'll go through with me in life much further than a brand. That's when you know you have approached burnout already. But you can't avoid it. But I say these are the signs that you will have to recognize. And most people realize it a bit too late, and sometimes it's very hard to claw back from that.
And would you say that if someone actually suffer from burnout, let's say for example, maybe you see a creator who is suffering from burnout, and my question to you is this: what would you do? Would you actually approach them privately and say, "Hey, I think you need to take a step back," or would you encourage them? Because I do see this being sort of like a conversational piece, because a lot of people actually ask me before, some of the creators I work with, they ask me questions and I can't really answer them because everyone is different, right? So they ask me things like, Mez, I'm kind of burnt out. I don't know what I want to do. I don't get what I'm doing. Oh, sorry, I don't get why I'm doing what I'm doing. But I still need to make that back.
Make that bag.
Yeah, because they feel that once they take a break, they become irrelevant. That's the fear.
Is there other ways to make that back? And especially as a creator, right, you really need to think about your business model in some ways that is scalable.
Yeah.
Can you earn while you're not producing?
You're talking about passive income here.
It depends. You also could be you go through a window of very intense earning, but also not spending it all, learning how to invest it, being able to take a window without, hey, if there's no brands that come through, will I be okay? I think that's the important thing. And because when you're a creator, right, you're surrounded by a lot of flash and a lot of, ooh, wow, this is the new bright and shiny things. It becomes very tempting to say, hey, I need to acquire another lens. I need to have this, and then I'll be a better person. I get 1,000, 100,000 followers. I'm such a good person in society right now. I don't think that you need to find fulfillment in things that are not in those ways, in the physical and in the material.
Non-tangible, basically.
Yeah. Which I think the part about having a good core support system, and if I see creators that burn out, I do have text them before, hey, how are things? Are things okay? Come and watch a movie with us, no biggie. And then let's just hang out if you want to have a coffee. And for some creators, I would say most of them actually just are okay. They're okay. They don't want to talk about their burnout. But sometimes it's good to have someone to, I would say, properly rant. Sometimes you are always complaining.
Yeah.
But you must remember that the person you're speaking to, are you looking for solutions? Or is that just something you want to talk to them about something, and then there's no resolution needed?
Yeah. Maybe just a listening ear.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And also I think this is very important, because no content creator should really live alone.
Yeah.
Live a lonely life. Be alone lah.
But that's the tricky part in Singapore. It's so highly competitive. Sometimes you see your peers has competition, and for the creators that have transcended this and do those that they don't, I feel that sometimes it's good for you to give back also. And then for the folks that are still starting out, I think it's good to build your own support network.
Agree. I think that's very, very important. Especially the part where you say giving back. How would you say would be the best way for a creator to give back to society or to the community?
For me, that's why I feel energetic teaching. And also if there's speaking opportunities, I'm also happy to talk. And Scape has reached out to me quite a few times to speak on their panels. I've done that as well. And if there's any small creator that generally asks, right, I do give some insights on how to approach it. But don't ask me questions like, hey, can you connect me with this brand? Then
Cloud chasers.
that's just okay. So that's the tricky bit. But if you really want to build a proper friendship, a relationship, that's something that I'm open for, as opposed to
Transactional.
Yeah. And I think that's the tricky part, that it's not taught in school, and it's not taught in education as a whole, but it's something that you learn over time in this space.
I totally agree. Both of us are pretty much in the same industry, marketing side of things. And I've met people who value the idea of long-term relationship, between brands and between the creators and so on and so forth. But I also have seen people who, I don't know, I don't get it. Sometimes they just go like, I just want that small, short cloud burst sprout or something like that. So they just ask like, can you just connect me with this brand? And then that's it. And my question to them is always the same thing, like, what are you doing this for? Yeah, because I don't want it to be a situation whereby you're doing it for a one-off. I think it's very critical that a lot of creators think that it can be transactional if you want to, but think about the benefits that you can reap if, let's say, you are looking towards a long-term partnership with a brand, for example. And I think some of the creators I noticed who are doing very well for themselves actually have got long-term relationship with brands. Every time I see a new product being launched, they'll be there. And I think a lot of creators need to think about this. Having said that, what would your advice be for creators who are looking to actually go beyond their comfort zone, like reaching out to brands, for example?
That one I can answer. Going beyond the comfort zone, I'm not so experienced because I'm doing it my own self in my own journey right now. Reaching out to brands, I would say the key part here is maybe study brand socials, understand what's their tone of voice, and then after that, go on LinkedIn. Go and search out the people who are within these brands, and then start emailing them. You start to grow a thick skin and say, hey, I want to work with you. This is my stuff. Hopefully we can connect. And then also, at the same time, if they have not responded to you, if you really want to work with them, buy the product and then use it.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So in some ways, the moment we have hit this current level for geek culture is that sometimes brands do send us a lot of stuff. And the fear is sometimes we accept, but we don't deliver. And we make it a point to always deliver when we accept goods or sponsored seeded products from brand itself. That's our key principle. If we don't, we'll just say, hey, we don't have time. Because we really don't have time.
We're all very busy. We all have 24 hours in a day. Yeah, truly understand.
It's not just busy, but the creator also think, okay, is this brand just seeding out stuff, or is they have proper marketing muscle? Are they here with proper relationship to actually push the conversation past just our own collaboration? Because as a marketing person, as a brand person, that's what they're thinking. And you as a creator, you need to think about how you're actually going to help them. And then you can think about it from a very simple way. If I really wanted this product, how can I help the next person who's actually looking to purchase this product go through and avoid all the questions that are asked?
That's basically adding value to the conversation with the brand. I think that's very important, because I've encountered creators who reach out to me and they just go like, I want to try this product. And I'm like, okay. So what? And I think it's very important that creators also learn, not say no, but learn how to present themselves better. Would you agree that, creators should actually, spend a little bit of money, like, for example, creating things like business cards for themselves, or even websites, or even like a simple Linktree page so that people can access them all their social media platforms and things like that?
Oh yes, why not? I mean, creating a business card is like basic thing. I would say, right, having a business card is like a trading card game. It's so fun in having the tangible as opposed to here's my QR code and scan it. Because the QR code at the end of the night, who is this person I met?
That's true. That's true. There's no personal connection.
And sometimes I also do this myself. I actually take notes of who I met that night. So I say, hey, do I want to do follow-ups on this person? And then this is something I learned from a friend who is actually an awesome personal assistant. She has a Rolodex or dossier on any person her boss meets. So that's a very good person, and it makes the boss look very good. They say, hey, I met you at this occasion. Remember, then you can start a conversation. So some things is making very intentional and very, very thoughtful about some things, and you only get that with a business card. Especially a small little tip, if you're meeting any Japanese folks, have your business cards, friends. Yeah.
That's very important, because some people you meet out there, they can be very traditional.
Yep.
I've encountered, like, I used to carry this NFC card and NFC ring, but it's kind of funny because over time I realized that a lot of people out there are still hesitant to do a scan of QR code or even scan with NFC. And it's supposed to be convenient. It's marketed as something convenient, but over time I realized that it's such
not
a
a
hassle.
habit.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, in China maybe, but in this part of the world, say get business cards.
Yeah.
That makes a good point. I don't have enough bandwidth to launch my own. I do need to have a website. I have a URL already. But the key part here is you need to show people in terms of your packaging.
That's true.
The word here is packaging. In terms of who you are when people Google for you.
Oh yeah, very true. Because if, let's say, for example, people Google up your name and the first thing they see is well-designed website, or maybe not a website, maybe just like I said, a Linktree page that gives you access to, or someone who's visiting your page, quick access to your Twitch channel, your YouTube channel, your TikTok, whatever, and it just shows how willing you are to actually go the extra mile compared to another creator who's just like, I just want to like have fun and hope for the best.
This interesting thing. So I think we had this conversation in some ways is how much polish is how much do you need to have versus what is raw and authentic. For me, my point of view is that I only when I start up any new venture, you really need to work with what you have.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's the best way to really say, okay, then if I purchase this, really, really make my content creation jump to the next level. I would say rent it, buy secondhand if possible. Don't need to buy brand new. And this is my own flaw also. I realized that, hey, I love gear also.
Gear acquisition syndrome,
Yeah.
GS, is a real deal.
So even for, let's say, a live stream, my mobile live stream, I've evolved from a mobile phone itself to actually having a portable PC that goes around, which you can plug into a DJI setup. But then I realized that, then there are limitations and things that I need to really consider to have a seamless experience for the audience. And it's only something that I only realized after I did it. So when it comes to, let's say, the point being the gear and how do you actually level up accordingly, and whether or not it's actually presentation to the brands itself that come in, really think from the brand's perspective, what do they want to see? And if you are in an era of growth, it's fine. You don't have to rush into it. But yeah, it's important. Very important.
I think when it comes to gear, you need to, like what you said, use what you have first and have to grow alongside it. A lot of people, oh man, this is a topic I really am passionate about. A lot of those who have already made it, they tend to say things like gear doesn't matter. And then actually it does until it doesn't until you realize that it does. That's my take on it. Like for example, you mentioned that you're carrying a portable PC now. As opposed to back in the day when you first started out, you had a phone.
Yeah, mobile phone trim.
Just a mobile phone. And then you realize that you need to start to lift up the quality and standard of your production.
Yes.
Yeah. So even for me also, let's say for example, this entire setup, I could have just done it on a mobile phone.
Yeah, you could.
I could have. Yeah, I could have. But I want to experience or explore other avenues that can kind of like set me apart from the rest. That's my personal take. Of course, it's still a work in progress. There's a lot more that I can improve on. But I think it's also very important that creators also understand that despite the wanting to improve in terms of production quality, they also need to set aside budget proper.
Yes.
That's super important because I've seen a lot of creators burn out, then burn out again because of finances, and then they can't recover.
Which is the part I'm saying, always be earning, but also be saving and also investing at the same time. And the part where we talk about big creators say gear does not matter, If it makes you happy, yeah, go ahead and buy it. But you need to be honest with yourself whether or not purchasing this really makes a difference. I'm wearing the Ray-Ban Metas right now. I'll be honest, outside of US and it has a lot of updates. It's a bit clunky to actually work with, but it's very nice if you need just that, especially a special real angle to really work with. Other than that, it's all right. Do I really need to spend $400 on this? No, not really. But did it make...
Sorry, $400?
Yeah. USD.
400 USD?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Then the question is, did it make me happy? Yeah, it made me happy. Yeah. So really, and I'm making more use of it these days because I went to get new lenses, replaced it, and then making the content creation with the devices much more enjoyable. It's the GoPro problem, right?
Yes.
You think about, oh, my life is so exciting, but when you buy it, it's like...
You know, I was just telling a friend the other day, I was like, because I found my old GoPro free.
Okay.
GoPro 3
3.
Black Edition. It was from 2015, I think. Oh no, way before that, I think 2012. And I have not used it for the longest time because I'm not a very adventurous kind of person. You don't see me jumping off a plane every week or so. And I was just talking to my friend and said, hey, I still have my GoPro.
Use it as a webcam.
No, I actually said that. What if I just strap it to my head and do the most mundane thing around the house? You know, like for example, go back to the kitchen and then do my dishes and stuff like that. That's the most I can afford. You know, and then I realized that that's actually one of the biggest regrets I ever bought because I spent quite a sum of money for it, and I realized I don't really need it. So up to today, I still got buyer's remorse.
Oh man, you shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah,
But it made you feel happy when you first purchased it.
I did until I realized how boring my life really was.
Yeah, I would say most creators, I would say not all of them are all about celebrity, and most creators that I've met, they do want to, okay, after the camera's off, they want to be a bit of peace and quiet. They just want to chill.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah, so really think about, even you buy your, I think Insta360 right now is the hottest thing. Do you really go on so many ski trips to really to use it? And then after that, you have got so much footage. So that's where I recognize my own limitations. Sometimes I don't like looking at footage and wrangling stuff.
The editing part is always a pain.
Yeah, but that's the real key part that you really need to love in the content creation process.
That's very true. Okay, so moving on to the last part of this podcast, you know, like this is something that I would like you to voice out and share. Let's say, for example, this has to come from your heart. Okay, what would you give as a brutally honest advice to any content creator who is starting out or is still on a journey, trying to make it big in the realm of this industry?
What would I give any advice to any content creator who is just starting out in this realm or industry? Brutally honest.
Brutally honest.
Are you doing it for the money or are you doing it for fame? I think those are the two things. It's very seductive, these two things. For some people, they find very big success when it comes to the money. I think that's fine also. And also, if you are doing it for fame, what are you going to do with that fame eventually also? So, something that I also reflect on myself, hitting the milestones. So what next? I would say enjoy the journey. But it's going to be hard. Really, really hard. But if you really love the money and you really love the fame and you're just doing it for that, then why not? There's nothing wrong with it. Content creators these days, they grew up, I say a whole generation of kids who grew up to be a content creator. You need to be realizing what makes you stand out from the rest. And if these are the two key areas that will actually be the basis of your content, it might be very tricky to go the long distance.
Very good advice. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. But we would like to end off with one last question, and this is for yourself. What are your immediate future plans?
I'm going to take it slow. It's going to be consistent, but I'm going to take it slow. It's going to be an age of discovery for me when it comes to my immediate plans. And I hope brands, friends, the stakeholders, all the industry will be kind to me in terms of how I'm going to project. Because so long I've been working with a team. Right now I'm doing it in some ways myself, but smarter. And I have to figure it out. So if I reach out to you for any advice, please, hopefully you can dispense for me some of your wisdom as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And for those of you guys tuning in, do check out Gerald Chan's LinkedIn. I think he's gonna be posting more stuff about what he's gonna do there as well. Apart from your other social media platforms, like he's still gonna be on Twitch. Where else can we find you again?
My next push is generally going to be in the realm of Twitch and on YouTube because, hey, when you're not live streaming, you got to eat too, right? So that's where YouTube is going to be. Out of all my experiences when it comes to social media, I still think that YouTube is the gold star when it comes to success as a creator.
I agree because it's always there and it's evergreen. Yep. All right. Gerald, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you so much, Mez.
Really appreciate you coming over and looking forward to your success as well as your future endeavors. I really want to see what else is in store because I think it's going to be really exciting to see your own personal evolution this time around with regards to all these massive changes in your life. And I really look forward to hearing more from you again.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.